Ready?
Hello, everybody. Elizabeth Johnston here of Own Your Creativity, and I'm super excited today to be talking to Ridgely Goldsborough of mindtypes.com. And I am just so fascinated with the concept of mind types that you developed. But before we dive into that, I'd really like to hear a little bit about how you developed the idea, because I know that you're a published author, you're a best-selling author, you have 17 books, and five of them were on emotional intelligence. So how did that feed into the creation of Mind Types?
So that's a great question, Elizabeth. And what happened was I wrote my first article on finding your why. Why do we exist? Why should we care? In 1999, so a long time ago. And I was very fascinated by that concept. And I think everybody is, right? After a while, as a kid, after a while, everything is why. I have a little granddaughter. She's 2.5. And everything is, you say something, she says, why? And I think that's an eternal fascination for human beings. I wanted to help people figure out why they do what they do. Excuse me. So I started writing about it at the end of the last century. Oh my gosh, that sound makes me so old and big. Excuse me. And I kept evolving the process to say, okay, well, wait a second. Your why is an expression of why you believe what you believe. And nobody does anything without a belief. You don't get out of bed in the morning unless you believe it's better than staying under the covers. You don't eat unless you believe it's going to feed you and take away your hunger. You don't work unless you believe you're going to be rewarded. So at the end of the day, everyone is guided by their beliefs. So what if there was a way to somehow make that more usable, make that more tangible, make that more like, oh, this is what I believe, and therefore this defines how I largely act in the world. And over the course of a tremendous amount of field research, it came to, wow, well, there's really 7 mind types, and everybody has a primary mind type. Everybody also has a secondary mind type and a tertiary mind type. So you think about human permutations are 7 times 7 times 7, largely complex creatures that we are. Yet when we understand each other better, we really know how to play to our strengths and hopefully minimize our weaknesses or challenges, which makes for a much more successful and, oh, by the way, enjoyable life.
Awesome. So the mind types, they're, as you say, there's 7 of them, and knowing them can, help us understand our why, but also it can help us in our business. And so why is it important for entrepreneurs or even authors who want to make a business out of their book? Why is it important for them to understand their mind type?
Well, because no one buys your book, your product, or your service before they buy something else first. The first thing they have to buy is you. And most people don't know how to express them, to the world in a compelling fashion. If you ask somebody, what do they do? Most of the time, they're going to talk about their product. They're going to talk about their service. They're going to talk about their career, their occupation, and nobody cares. Think about every friend you have, Elizabeth. You don't care at all about what they do. You care about who are they? What do they stand for? What do they believe? How does that jive with your belief? Does that resonate? So therefore, if there were a way for people to express who they truly are in a compelling fashion, then by definition, they're going to attract the right clients to their business, those that care about them more, those that pay them on time, those that refer them to other people and become ambassadors for them. Or you could just talk about what you sell, what you offer, and nobody will be motivated to take any action in your favor. Not such a great idea.
Yeah, you have these great videos where you give a before and after of a message, like a website that is kind of done in the old-fashioned way. Like, we were founded in 1842, and
Right.
versus a website that is transformed through mind types, but also limbic messaging. So what is limbic messaging, and how does that help us nail our messaging, on our website so that we attract the right clients?
So A lot of the work that I do is based in brain biology. And what's really cool about biology is that it always works. Not sometimes, not most of the time. If you're freezing, you want to get warm. If you're starving, you want to eat every single time. So if we understand how brain biology works, we can speak to the decision-making part of the brain. So for a business person, to be able to speak to the decision maker is critical. So if you look at a cross section of the brain from above, around the perimeter of the brain, you have what's called the neocortex, or the thinking brain. The neocortex is responsible for logic, data, information, benefits, features, words, speech, language. The fact that we understand each other now is because of the neocortex. Obviously, that's pretty important. However, the neocortex makes no decisions. Decisions are made in the heart, or the limbic part of the brain. So the limbic brain is what most people call the feeling brain. We make decisions based on a feeling like trust or loyalty, and then we justify the decision based in logic. So it's always the limbic brain that makes decisions, and the neocortex or thinking brain that justifies the decision. So I'll ask you the question: who would you rather speak to? The thinking brain that's going to think about it, or the decision-making brain that's going to make a decision? Just
the
say
decision maker.
Right, exactly. So in order to do that, we have to understand how to create messaging for the limbic brain, or limbic messaging. And limbic messaging is going to be messaging that is based on what you believe, what you stand for, not what you do or what you offer. That's just thinking brain material, which unfortunately is everywhere. Most websites online are online brochures and nothing more. Whereas you could have a website that is a business conversion machine. If it connects you with your clients, connects you with your prospects, and takes them one step closer to understanding you, which means that they can make a decision in your favor, then that becomes a business tool as opposed to a simple brochure.
So you were saying that when you're using limbic messaging, that you're actually avoiding having to deal with those kinds of customers that don't really respect you, like you say, don't pay on time, and actually are just like nightmare clients. And so, like, how do we shift from attracting those kinds of clients to clients that just love to work with us and get us?
Well, so it's really not that complicated, because out there you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you're a business owner, you don't want the bad and you don't want the ugly. You only want the good. Well, if you try to think about what the big they out there want to hear, you're going to attract all of them. They're all going to come in. If, on the other hand, you reverse the flow and express who you are to the world, so that you issue an invitation to the world. Hey, if you resonate with this message, come on in. If you don't, stay away. If you feel good about what you're seeing and experiencing here, come on in. If not, go somewhere else. So by expressing who you truly are, authentically, genuinely, and in as raw a form as you can possibly muster, you build a giant shield against people who don't resonate with you and your message, and you become a giant magnet for those who do. Hence, you only attract great clients to your business, and you never have to worry about it.
That is so awesome. I was talking to some people recently about using their own personal stories in their business and their messaging, and quite a few of them said, "Oh, I don't want to use my own story in there. I just want my expertise to speak for itself." Like, they kind of want to hide behind their credentials. So what you're saying is that they really need to be out front and center.
100%, because at the end of the day, people have to connect with you and buy you first. What is the one area that we all relate to? Pain. And all of us have been through pain. So if I share my story and there's some pain, you can relate to it because you have pain, and we share that in common. We suddenly have a little bit of a bond. If, in addition to sharing my story, I then tell you what I believe, I'm issuing an invitation. I'm saying, I believe in lasting relationships. If you believe in lasting relationships, then immediately your internal clock says, oh, I believe that too. Oh, wow, Ridgely and Elizabeth, we believe the same thing. We're good. And you take a step closer to that person. It's not, it is not a super complex dynamic. It's actually a very simple dynamic. It's, can we connect heart to heart based on a common ground? And generally, when you tell your story, that's about the common pain. And then secondly, can we connect heart to heart because we resonate with each other? The only way to do that is you have to express to me who you truly are, and I have to do that for you. Well, using limbic messaging, we can do that and express that to the world so that those people who believe what we believe come on in, and the rest head on down the road where they belong.
Cool. It sounds so, sounds so simple and easy and liberating when we know what our mind type is and how to use that effectively in our business. So I'd like to talk about what my results were for the mind type. But first, can you just run through the 7 mind types before we jump into my specific situation?
I can absolutely do that. As a matter of fact, I have them right here with me.
Awesome.
Oh. Let's go. We'll do it rather quickly in the interest of time, and then we'll give everybody that is watching or listening a chance to go figure that out for themselves at the end. So just stick around, and we'll make sure that you have a chance to figure it out. Number 1, the giver. The giver is the person that loves to make a difference, add value, contribute to others in some way. They want to have an impact with all that they do, and their superpower is causes and contributing to causes. Number 2, the connector. The connector is the person for whom bonds and relationships are everything. Trust is their superpower. Trust is their core value, if you will. They do what they say they're going to do. They show up when they say they're going to show up. They're reliable, and their superpower is, in fact, trust. Number 3, the problem solver. The problem solver is the person that loves to take in lots and lots of data, process it at warp speed, and make sense out of things. They're great at simplifying, at clarifying, and their superpower is solutions. Number 4, the innovator. The innovator is the person that's always asking questions. Well, what about this? What about that? How about this? How about that? Because they're looking for a better way to do anything. They want to innovate everything. Their superpower is improvements. Number 5, the perfectionist. The perfectionist understands that if you do A, then B, then C, then D, E is predictable. You can look into the future, you can restore order, put systems in place, that's their superpower, and organize things. And they're really, really good at it. Number 6, the rebel. The rebel. The rebel is the person that thinks differently and lives outside the box. They challenge the status quo. They challenge the norm. They challenge the convention. Challenge is their superpower. They're the kind of people that are disruptors, that are creating new normals. Very visionary. And lastly, you have the master. The master is the person that is so smart, huge intellectual brains. They're constantly looking to take things to another level. Their superpower is depth. These are the kind of people that would buy an ant farm just to watch the ants, to try to figure out how can those creatures be so amazingly productive. So again, the giver, contribute, make a difference, add value, have an impact. The connector, the person for whom bonds and relationships, trust is everything. The problem solver, make sense, simplify, clarify things, come up with solutions. The innovator, always looking for a better way, constantly seeking improvements. The perfectionist, looking for systems, implementing them, putting them in place, and making sure that things are organized and in order. The rebel, challenging the status quo, thinking outside the box, thinking differently, living differently than everybody else. And lastly, the master. The master is the person that's always looking to go deeper. Their superpower is depth, and they're super, super intellectually smart. So those are the 7.
All right.
Where do you think you're hanging out?
Well, I did the mind types quiz twice, once in June and then just actually today again, because I couldn't remember what my previous one was and I couldn't find my results in my email. So I did it twice. And then after I did it the second time, I found the first one in June and it was the same. It was the master.
Well, there's a shock, right? They would come out the same twice.
But then I guess that means that I didn't game the system, because like sometimes people, try to like answer them in the way that they think they should be, or but I guess that it came out twice and I didn't,
Yeah,
remember the first
sure.
time.
That's
Big
exactly
stuff.
right. So you love to study. You love to constantly seek depth. You're always interested in something and taking it to another level. And how do I find out more? And that's just who you are. And that's fabulous. Good for you.
Well, one of the interesting things in the follow-up video after you take the mind types quiz, where it explains a little bit more about your particular mind type, one of the things it said was that I, like the master, likes to do things just for the pleasure of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that really fits me. That really resonates with me. And that's actually one of my sources of frustration with other people, sometimes, because I'm thinking, like, why not just enjoy it? Like, does it have to have an ROI? Can you just not do it because?
Well, that's why people are different. And this world is a fascinating place, right? Because you love taking things to another level just because. Other person might say, well, I'm not doing that unless it absolutely there's a reason for it. And you need those people to maintain order, and you need people like you to have more fun.
Right. And so what do I need to do in my limbic messaging as a master?
So let me ask you a question. How do people experience from you that you're looking to take things to another level? How do they see that?
That's a really good question. I mean, I'm always, sharing about things that I'm doing and encouraging people to join me, like join the challenge or join me in like a workshop that I'm doing. And I'm always, looking for opportunities to help people go further and deeper themselves.
Mm-hmm. Right. And do people know that?
I don't think I've ever explained it in that exact way. That underpins everything that I do and I believe, but I haven't put that out front and center, because I have been focused on what do they want to hear? What do they need to hear from me in order for them to understand who I am and how I can help them? So I think it's going to be really helpful for me to turn that around.
Yeah. I mean, what if you said something like, I'm Elizabeth Johnston, and I believe in taking things to another level with everything that I do. I'm constantly sharing knowledge with others and inviting people in, looking for an opportunity to go further and deeper with you so that we can both make it to the next level.
Oh my God, that makes me cry.
Right?
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is amazing.
Well, that's you, right?
Yes.
And I mean, all I did was take notes. I took
Yeah.
a few notes and then I said, wow, watch me convert this into limbic messaging. So on your website, you could have things that say, we believe in always sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
We believe in inviting others into our circle. We believe in going deeper and further. And you could have those things on your positioning. So if somebody lands on the website and they see, we believe in inviting people into our circle, and they're looking for a circle, how does that make them feel in that moment? Like they just arrived and they just came home.
Yeah. Wow. That is
It's
awesome.
so powerful because it touches you in the heart space, your limbic brain.
Wow. That is amazing. And you were saying that there's secondary and tertiary mind, the ones that we have, like a primary one, and then we have a second and third one. And how do we determine that, the second and the third one? And why is that important to know?
Well, usually your primary mind type reflects why you do what you do. Your secondary is going to be how that shows up. So for me, for example, my primary is the problem solver. I'm always looking to make sense out of things. My secondary is the giver. I really want to make a difference. I want to make a difference in the world. I want to add value wherever I can. I want to serve others as much as I'm able to. However, it has to make sense first. In other words, I'm not going to jump in to help somebody if it doesn't make any sense. So how I make sense out of things is by serving people, but it has to make sense. So if you look at how your mastery shows up, that's probably where your secondary mind type lies.
Okay, because I took a guess, I took a stab at it, and I thought that it was the problem solver,
I
because
think
some
so
of the
too.
keywords in there, like solve problems, clarify, step by step, that sort of thing, and that's something that I realized when I was a TA, when I was the first TA and doing my master's, that I had a knack at with film theory, like really breaking it down into step by step and, bite-sized lumps, easy to understand and digest. And I've taken that throughout all of my teaching career. So I'm thinking that might be my second one.
Well, I think so. And if you think about it, what you're looking to do, you make sense out of things so that you can go deeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
You clarify things so that you can take it to another level. So your problem solving skills are how you show up as a master.
Cool.
Why? How?
And so why, how, and then the third one is
What? What you do.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, and how am I going to find out what my third one is?
You got to work on this stuff, man. It's hard to do that right here in 2 seconds, but we have exercises that help people. Really, what's most important, though, is to really understand your primary and secondary, because tertiary is just kind of, okay, so yeah, for a lot of people, it really almost doesn't matter, because what you do is just what you do. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the primary and secondary, why and how, those are really important, because that defines how you're acting almost all day long, every single day. What is the reasoning behind how you're showing up? That's what matters. What you do is just whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm a teacher. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. Oh, as a teacher, I'm a bit of a perfectionist because I like order. Oh, I'm a bit of a trust person. I'm a connector. Whatever. Cool. But it doesn't really impact as much how you're living your life day to day. Cool. Just more definition.
Yeah. So, as we were saying, we're going to.
And by the way, I just have to say one other thing, and that is, of course, you want to know your tertiary to get to the next level, because your primary is the master. So how could there be a master that's not seeking to get to the next level? Just saying, in case anybody missed that connection there.
Well, I'm going to post the link for the mind type so that other people can take the quiz. But it leads into your client avatar formula. And I'd really like it if you would explain a little bit more about that, what that is, and how it helps entrepreneurs like myself to really get a handle on their limbic messaging.
It's really a complete game changer. It's a system by which you take in discovering your mind type and learn how to express your mind type and put it out there to the world so that you attract people who believe what you believe. So for example, I have a water right here, right? Let's suppose I was marketing water. Well, most waters, the marketing is going to sound something like this. At ABC Water, we have the purest water from the deepest stream with all the antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that you need to hydrate your body, even after a long workout. Want to buy some? Right? And motivates nobody to buy this water because it was just about features and benefits and means nothing. So let's suppose that we had a giver, and the giver had a water company, and it was called Our Water. And the giver wanted to express what they believe about their product so that they can attract people who believe what they believe. They might say something like this: at Our Water, we believe that the body is a temple and only the finest ingredients should ever be put into it. We have the purest water from the deepest stream with all the antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that you need to hydrate your body. Want to join the cause?
Wow.
You can feel the difference.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Now, here's what's crazy. Not everybody's going to buy Our Water. Some people that just want the cheapest, they'll get ABC Water. But you know what? They're not your client. Yeah. The people who would be the client are the people who say, I want Our Water. And they go to the manager of the store and they say, excuse me, do you guys have Our Water? Well, why not? When are you going to get some? And they become an ambassador for your business because they believe what you believe and you share that with them. That's what the client avatar formula is all about, walking you through the process of being able to take what you believe and express it to become magnetic toward the right clients.
That is awesome. And what exactly is in the client avatar formula? Like, what are the parts that?
It's a, I do not recommend this for any of my friends that are listening or watching. And that is, it is a very comprehensive piece of software. And the software, what it does is it walks people through step by step each of the things that you need to do. A, discover your mind type. B, understand mind type keywords that touch you where you live. C, find out what is the essence of what you do, your tasks, your strengths, your why. Then what are your core values? What is your vision? In other words, how do you make the world a better place in 12 words or less? What is your ideal client? Each of these are modules with videos, PDFs, and downloads to help someone fill out a picture to then finally get to a space of now express we believe statements. In other words, limbic messages. Why do you do what you do? And when you have all of that, then you can begin to deploy them and put them all over the website. Just like we were talking about earlier, you're putting on your website, we believe in inviting people into our circle. We believe in going deeper and further. Those kinds of things, when someone sees that, internally, they nod their head yes. They're internally nodding their head yes, which means they're saying yes to you so that they can eventually say yes to your products or your services.
Right. If you're a solopreneur though, and like you're a one-woman show, does it make sense to put we believe or should I be putting I believe? Or is
Depends on how big you'd like to appear as an organization.
Right.
If it's just you, you can say I believe.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people, even if they're a solopreneur, they still have maybe a virtual assistant. They probably have an accountant. They probably have somebody who makes videos for them. They probably have, in other words, there's an infrastructure behind almost anyone who's in business. And so depending on how you personally feel, you could say, I believe, or most people would say we believe because it's more inviting.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that. And also it's true. It's not just me, you know, there are other people and services that support what I do too. So yeah, I can definitely see that we would be appropriate. So why is it that you do what you do? Why are you so passionate about mind types?
So it's funny. I've often posed the question of entrepreneurs. Number one, what is happiness for you? And then number two, do you know your number? In other words, what's the number that enough is enough? Where is enough is enough to the point where anything beyond that takes away from quality of life, et cetera. And so my definition of happiness is I spend a month of the year snorkeling, a month of the year skiing, and 10 months in service to others. Oh. And people ask me, what is the legacy that you're looking to create? And the answer is never, it's the next great book or the next great speech. It's a body of work in service to others. So for me, to help people understand who they truly are and be able to express that to the world forms part of the legacy and forms part of my service.
Oh my goodness. You're speaking limbic messaging. I can feel it.
Well, you know, what's interesting, Elizabeth, is, and I say this often, and I am completely sincere, and sometimes people are like, how can that be? Because I show up authentically and genuinely everywhere and never deviate from that. Here's what's crazy. I never, ever, ever have a bad meeting. Never. Like I haven't had a bad meeting in a decade.
Wow.
I just don't. I'm like, hey, this is me. This is who I am. If I can serve you, great. If I can't, let me point you in the direction of someone that maybe can. And life is good.
So was there a time before that you did have a bad meeting?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that before you know who you truly are, confusion is very rampant. And when you're confused, things are much, much harder. I believe that clarity is key for almost anything, especially progress, right? Confusion is difficult. I love the expression, if you confuse them, you lose them. Well, what most people don't realize is when you confuse yourself, you lose yourself. And to get clarity around who you are and what you're trying to accomplish, that doesn't mean there aren't days that are easier or more flowing than others. It just means there's no reason to have a bad day. It's just an opportunity for a learning experience. It's a moment in time to reflect. It's, you know, if you didn't understand sweet, you wouldn't understand that even a pinch of salt can add something to a sweet dish.
Right, right. Wow. So we're going to post mindtypes.com /Elizabeth, the link for the quiz. And then on Thursday, we're going to come back at 2 p.m. Eastern, live on Facebook. And I encourage everybody out there to do the quiz at the link that I'm going to provide underneath the video after the interview is over. And then join us live at 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. And you can talk to Ridgely about your results.
Yeah, that'd be great. I look forward to that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I can help some more people.
That's great. So thanks so much for chatting with me today, and I'll see you on Thursday.
Look forward to it.